Hey guys, Sandy here, and I am up with my Citrus Twist kit for October 2017. I went ahead and put the die cuts in this little die cut holder, and everything else is in this plastic holder here. It's going to be my first layout, so I've got tons of stuff to choose from. I'm going to use these two photos of my daughters. This is on the bridge to France in the World Showcase in Disney World. So this is from our 2016 trip, and let's see what I can do.
So I started out by matting my photos on that blue curly Q paper over to the left underneath of my trimmer, and that is a paper from the Maggie Holmes Carousel collection. Now I believe I've received that paper in a previous Citrus Twist kit, but I did use it all up. I had pre-ordered some of the carousel papers before I even knew that I was subscribing to Citrus Twist. And I took this gray bird paper and I just cut it in a way that I knew I was going to be able to cover up those little red birds. Now the red birds are definitely cute on there, however, this is for our girls trip album. And for that trip I decided that everything was going to be pink and teal with some little pops of other colors thrown in, but I really didn't want it to be red. So I'm just going to pop this down as a vertical element, and my photos are obviously going to be the horizontal element. I use this like page design, page starter a lot, where it's an L, and it could be an L, a backwards L, or an upside down L, but it's still an L. So I just switch over my photos a little bit because I knew I was going to be placing some items around the page and around the photos in particular, and the way that they were wouldn't have really worked for my my plans. And I really like how the photos look this way next to each other, where it's closer and then far apart rather than far apart then closer. So your eye might like them better the other way, but to me this worked the best. So I'm just going through these turn the page die cuts, and I gotta say there's some butterflies and some birds in here, and I'm not really a butterfly and bird person, but here I am. I'm scrapbooking with butterflies if you check out any of the other videos on my channel lately, and because that was came in my secret, not secret, kit club kit. But shh, is it even okay to talk about another kit club while you're scrapbooking with a certain kit club? I don't know. I don't care. Anyway, let's move past the different kit clubs and back to the scrapbooking. Yay, scrapbooking. Okay. Now I really liked this paper with that offset polka dot. So what I'm going to do is just pick one side and cut off a strip just so I can use one of the little arrow guys here. And I do that, and I get the pink one, and we get that all set up, and I get it trimmed down, and that's just going to be a little layered element under the corner of that photo. So we get that down there, and then the tag's going to layer up on top of that as well. And I'm going to ink all the edges of everything, but I don't make you watch it. Hooray! Okay, so now that I've inked all these edges, I'm just going to be placing them where I think they should go. And I'm kind of doing a little bit of layering. And, oops, sorry guys, I'm making you watch me ink moments. So I get that down there, and I'm like, hooray. Oops, forgot some ATG. So when you guys, your adhesive, question for you. Do you usually keep it above what you're working on or next to? Because I find that when I'm sitting down and scrapbooking, it's usually like above the page. So, okay, these little clear tile letter stickers, love them, really cute. I had the idea of using some Copic markers just to color it in, and then placing it on top of the photo so I could do a title, something moments. And I decided to use a Q just because I don't need to use a lot of Qs, and I couldn't think of anything upcoming that I would really need a Q for. However, I really like the look of it, and I like the look of it on the white cardstock, but I wanted it to go over the photo, and it just wasn't dark enough. Like, my photo area that I was putting it over was way too dark to do it. So now that I know I can do it, I can do that on another page. So these carousel stickers are clear stickers. They're tinted, but they are clear stickers. And I have a love-hate relationship with clear stickers. Like, I love them when I want to love them, and I hate them when I don't want them to be clear. So I just backed them on some other scrapbooking paper, and just white. I think it's actually the back of some scrapbooking paper. And I'm like, it needs a little bit more than just this thin little label and a heart. So I decided to take one of the frames out of the die cut pack and cut off the part that makes it a frame and just leave it as a rectangle. Because the colors in that frame kind of go with the colors of everything else on the page. And hooray, we get that little red bird covered up. I just offset the label a little bit, and then I get the heart placed on as well. And I know that I'm going to add a little bit more to that up there just to give it a little bit more of a decorative touch. But I'm okay with it for right now. Because I do pop around the page when I'm scrapbooking. I don't just like do one section, then another, then another. I'm kind of like all over the place, whatever's feeling good at the moment. Okay, so that little thing that I just cut up was the little hooray you have Happy Mail card that comes in every Citrus Twist kit. And I was careful to use the lined part of it because I thought I was going to do a little bit of journaling in that frame. Now the journaling doesn't happen there, and the journaling ends up just being one line later on, and I'm okay with that. When you have as many Disney trips and albums as I do, you find that you don't feel like you need to journal extensively on every page. I have Disney albums where, like, I have just pages of journaling where I document every single moment of the day and what we did and how we felt. And then I have Disney albums that are just like, here's what we did. Like, take a peek. We were on the bridge to France. And that's probably going to be how this album leans. Just because it's just the way it turns out to be when you have that many Disney albums, guys. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to ever stop documenting Disney, so it's probably going to be pretty pictures or okay pictures and pretty papers. And I'm cool with that. Now, this, I'm so proud of myself. So this is the 4th Citrus Twist kit I have. Yes, the 4th. And the first time I'm using the stamp set. It does come with a little stamp set in each kit, and I just haven't used it. But this time I do. Now I know that it's not going to be super crisp of a stamp because I am using Distress ink. I was just thinking, I don't have a lot of ink pads that aren't Distress ink. I have my Distress inks. I have like a gray from Avriel. I have a couple Memento dewdrop things. Is that all? Oh, I had those mini Stampin' Up! Ones. I could have pulled those out. So I have a couple mini Stampin' Up! Ones that are just ages old. I haven't touched them in forever. I've got to even see if they're even still alive. But anyway, I just rabbit trailed off on you. So I knew it wasn't going to be a super crisp image, but I wanted it to be a little bit crisper than it was. So I just dipped it in some on my Versamark ink pad and then stamped that blue stamping ink. English, I swear I can speak it. So I stamped on my Versamarking pad, and then I stamped on the Distress ink, and it gave it a little bit of a crisper image, but not perfect. Because it is a Distress ink, it's not going to give you that great crisp image. But if I'm going to start stamping, I should probably get some ink pads that will give me some crisp images, huh? Okay, back to what am I doing on the page, because I haven't even been paying attention. Sometimes when I voice over, I don't really watch what I'm doing. I kind of look off around, or I look out the window, or just, and just start talking, and then I turn her back to the screen, and I'm like, oh, I did a whole bunch of stuff and didn't say a word about it. So, what am I putting on here? Oh, there were a couple little stars that were on that that epoxy sticker sheet, and they both were down there on the bottom, but I moved it around just to get the stars in a couple of other places. Now here I'm taking these die cut florals, and I want to add the floral up to the top up here, but I know I don't want the whole thing, so I'm actually going to trim it off because I don't want, it to be pokey out with a bunch. See how that little yellow bit pokes out up there? I didn't want that. So I just trim it off. Whoop, super easy. Add some adhesive to it, and then get it to line up where I like it and plop it back down on that red bird. Need a little bit more adhesive though. There we go. Oh, and then I decide to ink the edges of the flowers as well, just to give it a little bit of definition on that bird paper. Now, there we go. I'm going to tuck those little bit of flowers there. Don't want to waste them or anything. So I ink those edges up too, and just tuck those right on back under there. Oh, and had to drink some iced tea. Alright, so I grabbed some of this twine, and this is a lawn fawn twine, and it's a little bit of a thicker twine than normal baker's twine. So I decide to just knot a little knot through that tag and trim off the excess so it's just kind of peeking out through there. And I went with the gray because I have that gray bird paper, so I wanted to make sure I had gray a little bit of other places on the layout. Now I'm going to add some florals down to this corner because I have florals in the other two areas that I'm embellishing. And at first I was going to tuck it underneath, but I really didn't like it. I didn't like it tucked under. And the reason why I was going to tuck it under was because it had that huge yellow flower right there, but I liked it better on top of the photo. So I decided to cut off that huge yellow flower, and that huge yellow flower actually makes it onto another page. So no worries, the flower is still going to look pretty on some other page. Alright, there we go. And of course, going to add a little bit of ink to it. And we're just going to nestle it right there in that corner so it looks like the flowers are kind of hugging that little bit of photo. And see how much is covered up. All those lines are covered up now, but I really don't have a place to journal because I wanted to use the pretty flowers. And I figured labels were in both of the other sections. I'm bringing down the floral. I might as well bring down the label as well. And we get that guy on there, and I do that whole trick of putting it on some white cardstock just so it's not a see-through sticker, or a translucent sticker rather. And then I decide to pull out these little cardstock stickers that came in that same Maggie Holmes sticker pack, and I'm just adding a few around the page. Not a whole lot. I feel like hearts and stars are something you could put on whatever page you want it to put on. Like it could go on anything. They're just a neutral shape that goes anywhere. So I just plop a couple of those around. And then I pull out these Evilicious puffy stickers. And I feel like these puffy stickers last forever because I've used them on a lot of pages. And I'm just, you know, placing some around just to give it a little bit. Some are gray, some are white, some are teal. And just to make sure I have each of those colors and each of those clusters. Now, the sun started to really move across the afternoon sky here, and I don't realize it. Like, I think I've said this before in videos, but while I'm scrapbooking, like, I don't even realize that that band of light is there. I am so, like, into what I'm doing that it doesn't even register in my head. Now, I grabbed some of these pearlized blings, and these did not come in the kit either, but I felt like I needed a little bit of something else. So I mix up the sizes. I use some of the bigger ones and some of the teeny ones, and just get it to go that way. And now I'm going to do some outlining because I feel like it needs something to contain all of this stuff. Oops, I lied. First I'm going to do my journaling, and it's just a line saying it's my daughter's on the bridge to France. And I don't feel like I have to write in World Showcase at Epcot in Walt Disney World because it's going to be in a Disney album. Now, this is something I do when I outline sometimes, not every single time. I use a ruler to do a straight outline all the way around the page, and then I do just a hand-drawn outline. And that way, it still has that messy, carefree look, but it doesn't get crazy like sometimes can happen when I'm outlining to completely freehand. Alright guys, that is going to finish up the page, and I'm happy with it, and it's ready to go in the album. So thanks so much for watching. Hope you guys are having a great week, and go ahead and hit that subscribe if you haven't, and I'll talk to you soon.